Bill, would you CC me when you respond on that issue?
Yes, sir, absolutely, of course.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Reichert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate you holding this hearing today and the opportunity to talk about our, as you said in your opening statement, the constellation of our trade program, extensions, improvements, and graduation from preferences. Mr. Reif, I'm very pleased to hear you talk about bipartisanship and your ability to work with both sides and both staffs, both sides of the aisle, as we look at shaping our U.S. Preference program policy. However, I tell you that I am disappointed that the administration has yet to present a robust trade agenda. We're still waiting for that. I had an opportunity to meet with Ambassador Kirk just a couple of weeks ago and asked how the FTA process was moving forward as those who have graduated from the preference programs, Korea, for example. And he said that the holdup was that the nation is so divided on this issue that it's difficult to bring forward. I find that as a pretty weak excuse. The nation is divided on health care, yet we don't have a problem bringing that forward. The nation's divided on cap and trade, yet we don't have a problem bringing that forward. I think it's time that we hear from the President about a robust trade agenda. I want to focus on, and I want to associate myself with the comments made by Mr. McDermott. It's time to push forward, not pull back. Associate with myself with comments made by Ms. Sanchez that this really, trade is very key not only to jobs but to security, the environment, labor rights, shared responsibilities and liabilities, and all those things, the cultural exchanges, all those things that trade agreements bring. So my question to you is looking at, Mr. Rangel focused on Colombia. My question is more towards, since being from Washington State, Korea is our fourth largest trading partner, and it's absolutely essential that we have an agreement with Korea for Washington State job growth. When will that come to the floor for an agreement? When will Korea be graduated from, and we've graduated from this preference agreement, to a full trading partner with the United States of America? When will that come to the floor for a vote?
Thank you, sir. If I might start, you mentioned with respect to generally the administration's trade policy, and as you know, the President just announced a few days ago the movement towards working on the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
I'm aware of that. Give him props for that, I guess, is what they say in today's world. But when will the Korean agreement come to the floor for a vote?
And there's been extensive work also on all the three FTAs. With respect to the Chorus and the Chorus FTA, extensive work is ongoing.
Do you have an estimated date, maybe when that might come to the floor?
I can't offer you a date. I can offer you what has been going on since the administration took office. Ambassador Kirk has said that the
what's the holdup with the Korean agreement?
Well, the agreement was not there was not a basis for presenting the agreement successfully to the Congress when the administration took office, and we have been working on that to see if we can achieve that kind of both substantive addressing the.
Can we look forward to next year? I know it's not going to happen this year, even though we'll be here to almost Christmas. But
right. I can assure you that we are working hard with respect to the outstanding issues to see if there is a basis.
Is it your hope that it comes to the floor next year?
Pardon me, sir?
Is it your hope that it comes to the floor next year?
I would rather not focus on a particular date, but rather on the work that we are doing. We're doing with the Congress, with our private sector, to see if we can resolve these issues so that the agreement can move forward successfully and on a bipartisan basis.
Well, Mr. Reif, I'm just going to say I'm very disappointed in your answer and that you're not able to answer the question. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Could I ask the gentleman to yield?
Yes. I was just recognizing.
Thank you. Don't we have some idea that the problem with the Korean agreement concerns the trade in automobiles?
That is a core problem, the largest problem, yes.
Okay, and what is the difference in trade of automobiles? How many automobiles do we import annually from Korea?
It varies between 600 and 700,000.
And how many do we export to Korea?
That is about 5 or 10,000.
That's a problem.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes.
I have a question, too. How long has Korea been graduated from the preference program? How long have we known about the automobile trade imbalance, and how long does it take to address an issue like that?
Let me answer that. You've raised it. I'll answer it.
Yes, sir. Thank
And
you.
I'll send you the material. It goes back 3 years, sir, in our discussions with the administration. Korea has essentially kept out American manufacturing products throughout its modern economic history. In its automobiles, its refrigerators, Whirlpool can't sell their major refrigerator in Korea. They can sell their refrigerator and do any place in this country. They can export their cars here without any hesitation from us. Essentially, we've had one-way trade. And we told the previous administration that these issues had to be addressed in the Korean Free Trade Agreement. They did not address the beef issue, and they did not address the manufacturing issue. And as a result, and they were pre-warned, if they did not do so, there would not be support within this institution for proceeding, despite the fact that there were major improvements in other areas. They went ahead and signed the agreement anyway, without effectively addressing the tax restrictions, the regulation restrictions, and the failure to have a dispute settlement system, while we gave up the tariffs that we had on their cars, and also phasing out the tariff on trucks. President Obama, when he was a candidate, made clear he had problems regarding the Korea Free Trade Agreement. This was already clear. Since then, this new administration has been talking to the Koreans. Mr. Rangel and I have met with the trade minister, with the ambassador, and suggested to them that there needs to be some serious discussion about revisions in the Korea Free Trade Agreement. I use the word revision. We don't have to worry about the technical term. To meet their having essentially a history of one-way trade when it comes to manufacturing that means jobs in America.
Mr. Chairman, if I...
So I'll be glad to send you the history of this.
Well, I'd like to get in on this debate as well if we've got time.
I think we're
Because I
gonna,
disagree with some of those characterizations.
We'll do that some other time.
That's the deal.
This is a hearing on preferences. You raised it, and I urged you at the beginning to have a hearing on preferences.
Mr. Chairman, if I could respond. I mean, I see the two, as you mentioned in your opening statement, this is a constellation of trade program, which includes preferences and graduating to a full trade agreement. I don't know how you can hold a hearing on preferences and not connect trade agreements to it. They're interconnected. And so when you talk about Korea and the fact that Korea has graduated to this preference status, the only natural follow-up question then, sir, is when will it finally become a full trade agreement?
I'll tell you, the answer is when the Korean government agrees to sit down with the United States and address the issues that are outstanding.
So, sir, if I may, would you yield?
And then we will proceed with the agreement.
Well, it's taken 3 years so far.
I know, because they, for 3 years, have refused to sit down and discuss revisions in the agreement.
Well, that's not exactly true,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. I know we have Mr. Etheridge and Mr. Herger who do want to question administration.
Okay, look, we can take this up. Mr. Rango and I had a meeting just a month ago with the Koreans on this very subject, and there was this, and it's been publicized by them, an unwillingness to sit down and discuss. They say the agreement is the agreement. They're not willing to change it. That's not an acceptable position. We want to proceed. There are positive elements in the free trade agreement. We all acknowledge that in services, in other areas, now in agriculture, at least temporarily. We need to resolve the outstanding issues on a mutual basis.
Well, gentlemen, maybe you two can help us, because at the last meeting we had with the Minister of Trade, he made it abundantly clear that as far as he was concerned, his government had signed off on an agreement. And we cannot argue with what position he takes. We also take the position just because we change presidents doesn't mean that we change policies. But he was really offended when the chairman brought up the question of, can we look over these areas that are holding the agreement up with our USTR? So I know, Kevin, I know, Mr. Brady, that you're saying that you differ with the facts. If you differ with the fact as it relates to the Korean government considering that agreement completed and not going to be reopened, you can help our country by meeting with them and telling them that it has to be reopened.
Chairman, I would be glad to sit down with you. I know I visited with them in Singapore, and their position is a contract is a contract, and they've moved forward. But I do think there's room for discussion on autos and beef that could prepare this agreement for consideration by Congress. I think that's the goal.
Let's leave it at that, because I met with a gentleman in Korea, in Singapore, and let's leave it at that. If there's a willingness to sit down and discuss these issues, we can move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Until now, there has not been. Mr. Etheridge is next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me thank you for holding this hearing and on trade preferences. I think it's important. But that being said, Mr. Wright, let me ask you a question, because there's some other things swirling.